Let's see if we are live, if we are connected, because it's all about the connection. So I will give it a few moments here, welcoming you all. It's Thursday afternoon, around 5 o'clock, 4:58 Pacific time in California. Let's see if people get online here. We are broadcasting live. We are playing this on a replay, just so you know. We are waiting for people to tune in. And we are switching gears today a little bit. We are talking what is ascension and the different levels of consciousness and what does it really mean and why is it important in these times, you know, where we are experiencing that just some things are changing, right? That things are just different, that we are waking up, we are seeing things we might not have seen in the past, and we are wondering, you know, we've been taught one thing, but we kind of feel in our soul, in our heart, that things are different. And this is why this is really, really exciting and important to actually comprehend what's going on. And how do we work with this? And what does it mean for us? And the invitations, they are available in this transformation, which is, you know, like a lot of people, they want to change the world, right? They want all the things to be different, and they are pointing to what is wrong, and this is not working, and this is bad, and this is evil, and all that stuff. And they're always expecting the things on the outside change without really understanding that the change happens from the inside. And this is why this ascension is so critical and is so important, because we start to see that, hey, you know, we've been kind of living in a very different world than what we've been taught, right? And now we are waking up. They just things are not making sense, and we are asking questions, and we are wondering, and we are searching. I think so many people are searching, which is so wonderful. You know, when you start searching and you start questioning, you know that you are on the right track. And also, when it's just no longer, you know, you can no longer tolerate, you know, all the lives we've been living, right? And also our personal lives we've been living, right? We've been kind of putting on this image, we've been putting on this facade, we've been trying to fit in, and we've been trying to please people and comply and obeying, right? How important is that in today's times, right? And so this is why we will be talking about this ascension. What does it really mean? So what is ascension? So ascension is, the word ascension really means that it's referencing to the elevation of the human consciousness to a higher levels of frequencies and vibrations, right? So the whole world is energy. Everything is energy. The words we speak, the things we are looking at, everything. And when we start tuning into it, we really start better comprehending the energies, right? When we know that something is wrong, right? Because truth vibrates at a specific frequency, and people can be telling us one thing and convincing us, but we just know deep down that it is not really the truth. So we can look at this in the terms of the 3D, 4D, and the 5D consciousness. And so what has been happening, really the big change, it started in 2012. One of the big changes was the Great Conjunction in December of 2020. And from there, we've really been starting to feel that, hey, something is really pushing us to be rising higher, into a higher level of consciousness. And the people who are really avoiding this, you know, they will have a lot of troubles. They will have really problems, because kind of think of it like you have this mechanism, right? And kind of called society. And the society has been running at certain frequency. And now we are being presented, the whole planet is being presented in a higher level of frequency, because it's literally pushing for humanity, for the mankind to rise higher, right? To rise from the state of this oppression, from the state of this victimization, from the darkness, moving towards the light. So we are experiencing this ascension, this transition from this low frequency, this dense 3D world we've been literally trapped into for generations, for centuries. So let's start. What is really 3D consciousness? So the 3D consciousness is made of the low, dense vibrational frequencies that operate in duality and in separation, right? So here is me, and there is you, and there is them, and them, right? And you feel like you are kind of on your own, that everyone is against you, and there's all this evil, and you just feel like you feel lonely, and so you try to fit in, right? So you try to please people, you try to put on certain facade, you get title, you get things, right? So you can impress people, and you see things as good and as evil. You see things as good and bad, right and wrong. And now you go in life and you are constantly labeling, right? What is good and what is bad. And you constantly have to look behind you and around you and behind your back to make sure that someone doesn't hurt you, that someone doesn't get over you. So you this 3D reality, the 3D dimension is living, mean that you are living in this hostile world, right? Because all you can see is the threat, right? You are literally living in the fight or flight mode. Like you have moments of happiness, right? But they are very quickly replaced by all these worries and stress and anxieties and depression, because you are living in a state of separation, right? So the moment we start labeling, we start judging the things between good and bad, right and wrong, and we don't see them from the higher level of its totality, right? That the light cannot exist without the dark, right? And that we came here to experience this reality. Well, now you are stuck in the darkness, right? And the darkness just consumed you. And so what you are really, you are in this linear perspective, and you only understand what you can see, touch. So you live in the 3D, in the material world, right? And one thing we have to remember, that we, as our human body, we have 5 senses. We have the hearing, we have the seeing, we have the touching, we have the feeling, right? We have the tasting. But do you realize that it's only 1/trillionth of what's available on the electromagnetic spectrum? So, like certain animals, they can see and hear and feel so much more. So we see only, or we can perceive only very tiny, small spectrum. I mean, area of the huge spectrum of the electromagnetic field. So just imagine if suddenly you are given the full spectrum, right, of all the different frequencies and energies and vibrations, and you could really see all that is out there, all the colors, all the sounds, everything. You would realize that our 3D perspective, if we function in the 3D perspective, is extremely limited. And so now it's kind of living in the darkness, and now life feels a survival. It's the survival of the fittest, right? And you kind of, like, thanks to also some of these organized beliefs, now you feel like you've been doomed, right? Because you are just this creature that doesn't have really any higher spiritual purpose, and you are just like wandering and surviving through the life on this planet. And so life feels hard and difficult. and heavy, right? This is why it's so dense in the 3D reality. And then you look around, right, and you see everyone else doing the same thing, so it just feels right, yet something is just telling you that there is something higher, that there is something more. And we have to remember, I was posting about it the other day, that our mind is this most powerful computer you will ever own, right? And that only 5% of our thoughts are coming out of the conscious mind, and 95% is coming from the subconscious mind. So the subconscious mind is basically all these programs that are not coming really from you, but they are coming from other people. This is what your teachers told you, what your parents told you, what your politicians told you. Everything, you've been literally programmed, and the subconscious mind kind of functions on this protective mode, right? So if someone tells you something negative, you kind of store it deep, and now you are trying to protect yourself. And anything that just seems similar to that vibrational frequency, now you literally cling on it. You literally get attracted to it. Unconsciously, you really do not want it, but this is how the subconscious mind works. It's an operating system. It's operating system that runs on only certain frequencies. And so in the subconscious mind, now we have all these programs, right? We have all these little bosses, the boss that wants more money, the boss that wants more love, the boss that wants more attention, the boss that wants more appreciation, the boss that wants more sex, more pleasure, whatever it might be, right? And now it's running. And the problem is that it's 1,000,000 times more powerful than your conscious mind. So imagine that the thoughts, the feelings, and the emotions that you are having are coming actually from the deeply stored programs, right? And you want to feel great, you want to feel good, you want to feel elevated, empowered. But now, I many times compare it. It's like having this 500-pound gorilla that's literally bossing you around. That's how it feels, right? That you have this voice in the back of your mind, and now you're kind of listening to it, right? And so this is where we've been stuck as humanity for all these generations and for all these centuries. And it's been kind of done on a purpose. I kind of call it that it's been the great quest, okay? It's been the great quest. If we can figure this out, if we can figure it out, how the game of life is being played, right? Because imagine that someone would give you instructions, right? It's kind of like going to play baseball, right? My son plays baseball, and he's absolutely amazing, and he loves the game, and he studies the rules and how it's played and all the successful players. I haven't studied it. I'm not even kind of interested. So when I go to these games, I am like, I'm lost. I do not know anything about the game. I just know when to applaud, right? So imagine that you would put me on the team. Well, I wouldn't know how to play. So I would be failing at this game of life. And this is pretty much what's happening, right? So we have to learn about the subconscious. And I kind of see this ascension as actually learning the self-mastery, and how we can use this powerful subconscious force to transcend it into this higher level of consciousness, right? Where we stop feeling like we are living in this hostile world, that we can rise higher, and that we can truly experience the bliss, the forever honeymoon, the heaven on earth too. If you want to be sad, if you want to cry, if you want to be angry at whatever, be my guest. Do it, but just enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, you have a choice. By learning your mind and that the creator you are of your reality. So now, how do we get to the next level? So in 4D, so that's the fourth dimension. It's the time dimension, which kind of doesn't really exist, but it depends on, different beings' perspective. So in the 4D dimension, it's really a gateway to the 5D. And it still operates in duality, all right, between the right and the wrong, between the good and the bad, right? But it is the beginning of recognizing that there is something more than the self, right? That you are not just like this creature, this body with a brain, and you are a robot, just getting up in the morning and having your coffee, going to work and making a living and sending kids to college, going on vacation, and then you die, right? This is the robotic life that people live, to 95 years old, but really what they did, they live 1 year 95 times over. Very robotic. They keep repeating the same things, right? They are wondering why is my life like this? Because they are stuck. They are stuck in the self-centered, in this mode of separation, in the heavy dense, the 3D reality, 3D dimension. So now when we go into the 4D, we start to realize that there is something more, right? That there, like, what am I? Who am I? Why am I? What am I? Why did I come here? And so the 4D consciousness begins to awaken inside of us, and it gives you the idea that you are connected to something higher, and that there is more to life than what you see, what you hear, what you feel with your limited senses. And you start to become curious about it. And so you are kind of losing the self-centered, the focus that, oh, I'm separated, right, from all there is. And this is when you are rising higher in the consciousness. And very important thing is that in the 5D, in the fifth dimension, there is no competition. And we know that there is enough for everyone. And the reason that there is no competition is because you now remember. You suddenly remember who you are, and that you cannot be someone else. And with that moment of that awakening, with that moment of realizing, you start accepting yourself, and you start loving yourself the way you are with all your imperfections. And when that happens, it's very critical, because now you no longer need validation. You no longer need validation, you no longer need approval, you no longer need that source of love from others, which is usually just doing business with tons of expectations attached to it, but you go directly to the source that's streaming at us at all the time. That stream, that powerful energy of unconditional love, that is the lack of judgment, the lack of labeling. And you feel, when you achieve this level, when you rise to the 5D, you start feeling overwhelming emotions of the love. Then it rises into peace, creating this inner peace, that you know that everything is okay, that everything will be okay at the end, right? And if it's not, well, it just means that it's not the end. So you are ready for the challenges. You are ready for the obstacles. You stop being this victim, and instead you step into the position of the warrior of light. You join the member of the family of light. You reconnect with the absolute, with all there is, with God. And there is no separation. So you no longer need to be on your knees and praying to something higher, because you are in that vortex. You are in the vortex of the absolute, in the vortex of God, with that ultimate, most powerful protection there is. It's the highest authority. And when you are standing in that dimension, when you are functioning, resonating in that dimension, well, what is higher than that? First of all, you know the difference between right and wrong, right? Because you have awakened. You have awakened, so you know. That compass is always with us. It's built into our heart. And in this space of the 5D, we are free from the conditioning, and we live in oneness, because there's no more separation, there are no more walls. So I can see myself in you, I can see myself in the tree, in the animal. I see myself in everything, because I'm the extension of the source, and the source, God, is the creator of all there is. And so suddenly you feel this connectedness, this unity, and there is no longer that division. And that's in this special space, in this different dimension, this higher dimension. There is no more fear. There's no more fear. The fear all is just like shed it away from you, and suddenly you feel like you are floating above the ground, because you are elevated, you are empowered, and you feel that stream of that source of that the absolute is just always in your presence. It's never outside of your presence. It's always there with you. It's only when we step down and we get back into the mind, into the 3D level of just this reality, and it's just so seductive. Oh my, the drama, right? The drama people engage in, and they want to drag you in that drama, and before you know, you start realizing, oh my gosh, I got dragged into this. Okay, well, thank you so much, but I think I need to take a break, because I need to go back to my high level of consciousness, of being the observer, of the observing, of realizing that I have a choice to decide how I feel, that I have a choice of either giving power or just remaining and keeping my power, so I can never be a victim. So what other people do, that's their business. That's their business, that's their doing. What's my business is what's my business, what I'm doing. And so then we just focus. We just focus on our higher purpose, why we came here, what are we doing here? And that's the beautiful part about this timing, about everything that's happening. And you will hear me many times to say that, you know, what has happened with everything in, you know, this pandemic and everything was blessing, because it just shook up so many people, and it's pushing them now of learning the truth, of stepping into their power, into realizing really what all these institutions are really about, that it's about control and about power of one man controlling another man. And then you get group of all these men together, right? And they want to control the masses. Well, the masses are now waking up, because these energies are streaming at us. So my beautiful friends, I hope that this is actually recording. I don't see any activity here. I'm sure probably the dark forces do not want me to speak the truth, but I have faith, and I have hope that this message will get to those that need to hear it the most. Sending much love.